Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Annie Berry channel. Thank you for watching my video. So I'm going to get started. As you can see, we are going to be talking about The Golden Girls, a show that most of us know and most of us like. So as we're going to start off that The Golden Girls are about four women that live in the apartment actually live in a home together in Miami. Come on, Miami, Miami, Miami. And as they live together, they're really like the best of friends. Honestly, they really are. So like I said, it's four mature women that live together in Miami. They go through joy, sadness in their what we call the golden years, which I think it's probably like almost 50 and over at this time, seeing as this was created around 1985. So we have Sophia, starting off first, and then we have B. Arthur, which is Dorothy. Sophia is played by Estelle Getty. We have Blanche Devereaux, which is she's actually one of my favorites. Aside from Dorothy Petrillo, and Blanche is played by Rue McCallahan, and then we got an icon. They're all icons in their own right, but she's probably a little bit longer as an icon, which is Betty Wright. Betty White played as Rose Nyland. So this has been a staple in pretty much American culture. If you've watched TV, you've seen the Golden Girls. We all know the song. Thank you for being my friend. Travel down the road and back again. My heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. Doom, doom, doom. Um, they sing a whole lot better on the show. Excuse me. And this show is so good. I have personally never heard anyone not like the show. I have never heard anyone not like the show. It has stand the test of times. It was on for it was on for like 7 seasons, and there was a spinoff called The Golden Palace, but B. Arthur, she actually left the show when they made the Golden Palace, but um, it did not end well. It was only on for one season. So let's get going and move on here. So we're going to start off with Sophia Petrillo. She is the mother of Dorothy, the very tall one. You all know who she is. She is a whippersnapper. So she is an immigrant from Sicily by way of what I think they lived in like Brooklyn in New York. She has more kids than Dorothy. I know they definitely mentioned one named Phil. He seems to be the odd one out into the family. And about her is like one thing I like about her when she wants to give them a story. She starts off like this. She says, "Picture this, Sicily, 1922." And she's always like mostly a young woman, and sometimes the stories make sense, sometimes they don't, but she definitely gonna give you a good story. She normally bumps heads with her daughter Dorothy because she hates that the fact that she put her into a nursing, I think, what was it called, Shady Pine, it was called, I think it was called Shady Pines. And she did not like that. And she would give Dorothy every chance she could about putting her in that nursing home. So Dorothy's father, who Sophia was married to, his name was, oh my goodness, what was his name? Salvador. That was his name. His name was Salvador. On and off, she's a wisecracker. She does put down, but she gonna love you though. But she gonna have something to say. She goes after Blanche. She calls her a slut, a tramp. She talking about escapades. And I think one time she said Blanche had a hard time after like a New Year's Eve party finding her drawers in a pile. So she really be giving them a hard time. Rose, she think Rose is kind of dumb. She do. She do. She think Rose is like incredibly dumb. Her stories are too long. All the girls think that. But best believe she gonna have some Italian traditions that may or may not make sense, but she gonna stick with it. She is going to stick with it. And how can you not love Sophia? And also her cooking, she makes a lot of Italian dishes and she don't play. I think one time she even criticized her own sister. No, her sister criticized her saying that the sauce don't stick to the spaghetti. Oh, Sophia was having none of that. None of that. I know when Sophia comes on, she is going to get Rose definitely about having all them damn stories from her hometown. Okay, this is Blanche Devereaux. She is what we call a old Southern belle, or as she would tell it, she is a little bit vain. I will admit, a little selfish, but she gonna mean well in her own way. But she's going to always be herself. If you want to compare her, think of almost like Samantha from Sex in the City, if that would help. She's like Samantha from Sex in the City. So Blanche, homegirl, grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, on her family's plantation. I think it's called Twin Oaks, and I know she used to call her father like Big Daddy, which I guess is like a Southern thing, especially. She loves sticking to a Southern belle, but she is promiscuous and she lets you know that she likes to be men and she picks the men. I think this is a very important thing about her because she really is the one that really focuses on looking good and youth and still being able to be in your sexuality. And I don't think age stops it. This is kind of one of the reasons why I like Blanche so much. I think she's always been this person, even when she was a teenager. I just think she gotten better with age. And I remember one time, and it was in one episode where she was talking, I think it was her niece that was coming over for a visit. She had to give her niece morals that what her as Blanche does is she picks the men. She doesn't normally let them walk all over her, even though occasionally it does happen, especially when she's with a rich, wealthy, upscale type of man. Sometimes she'll fall through the cracks. But I remember that episode because she really wanted her niece to know that you don't fall and trod behind a man. Especially if the men ain't paying, they ain't doing nothing, they ain't taking you on dates. It just doesn't make sense. So Blanche is the one that actually owns the home in Miami, Florida. I think she moved there after her husband died, so she is a widow. And she's normally man hungry. That is who she is. She was supposedly very faithful to her husband before he died. I think it was in like a car accident or something like that. And I think she just goes everywhere she wants to go. She will meet a man in a grocery store. She will meet a man in a park. She would meet a man at an art museum. She would meet a man at a dance hall. She would go to a bar. She would go to a club. And I think that Blanche also give Rose the deal in the business because she think Rose, just like Sophia, is stupid. She thinks something is wrong with Rose. Um, and she really be making fun of Dorothy because she thinks she's too tall. She thinks she doesn't have the figure, a youthful body. She can't pull off a good wardrobe. So she definitely be giving Dorothy the business. But all in all, they always come together in the end. And I do think that Blanche is someone you can learn some things from. I also remember one time she dated a blind man, and she was a little iffy dating him because he couldn't see her physical beauty. And her physical beauty means something very much to her. She likes to get up, she likes to have her clothes nicely done, shoes, which are like mostly heels from what I've seen. She loves to have her hair has to be in a good way, fluffed up, her makeup, jewelry, everywhere she goes, she has to be done up. Her beauty is extremely important to her. And so because she was dating a blind man, she really feel like that's what she falls into, her beauty. So if a man can't see her beauty, she almost wonders, well, why are you with me in the first place? Um, Eventually, obviously, it doesn't work out. They go to the next episode, and I don't believe we see him again. Um, which is another thing we don't. I mean, it's up to you on whether you care or not. But I would have liked to see him a little bit more in at least another um, episode, or at least another episode or two. Um, there has been times where even through Blanche's promiscuity, there has been a hint or two that she over exaggerates some of her sexual encounters. Um, I don't know how much you can over exaggerate, only because we've seen Blanche stop a man dead in his tracks. When she see a man come through, she fix her hair. She puts her, her lovey dove, her girls up, and she is ready. She don't care what it is. She gonna have her a good time. She gonna have her a date. Okay, let's move on. Now we're gonna talk about Dorothy Spornak. Dorothy Spornak, she is the daughter of Sophia and Salvador. Uh, so she was actually born in New York City. I believe it was Brooklyn. And I actually like her because Dorothy has a nickname that Sophia gives her. It's Pussycat. And I think that's just kind of cute. I think that's just a cute little mother and daughter thing. I think that Dorothy has always been kind of odd, bookish, overachiever to her best of her ability. She's a well, yeah, because she's a teacher. She's also a teacher, I believe, in a high school. So she really likes learning. It's pretty much um, one thing that she really likes. So by being with um, Blanche and Rose, she feels sometimes she's a little out of place, which to an extent, yes. But that's kind of what I like about all of them being put together. That Dorothy is like this, not mother like figure, but more like a big sister type figure, where she gets to keep them on their toes sometimes. She questions some of what Sophia, Blanche, and Rose does. Um, like I said, with Blanche, Blanche does make fun of her, and so Sophia, I mean, sorry, Dorothy always kind of give her this look like, really, I can't believe you talking to me like that. It's like, what's with the shade? But trust me, Dorothy can hold her own. She'll definitely call Blanche a slut real quick. Um, and she'll be like, you know what? Don't forget, I know about them sailors. When the sailors come, Blanche goes to running. So Dorothy was actually married to her ex-husband, Stanley. They actually got a divorce because Stanley cheated on her with another woman. I think it was like a secretary in his business. And Stanley, he's really a kind of fly-by guy. Ever since they first got together when she was a young woman, I think she had been like 18ish, I think, and she became pregnant by him, and so they got married and was living for many, many decades with each other until, of course, the affair happened and they got a divorce. Stanley still comes by, and she be giving him the business too. She be like, "Sir, why are you here? Don't you got somewhere to go? Don't you got somewhere to do?" Um, so at one point, I know they bought property together in Miami, and because of that, they had to go through like the whole IRS debacle because of that. But Dorothy's very loyal. She is. She's very loyal. There was one time I remember one episode, one of her new writer friends was really, really kind of mean, shady, giving them the cold shoulder because her writer friends really thought Blanche and Rose were dumb. And she just really wanted to have her own friend outside of their group. But Dorothy had to let her go because that writer woman, she was trying to go to a country club and it didn't invite people who were Jewish. And at that time, Sophia was dating. She was going to invite some man that she really liked. So Dorothy was like, "Oh no, you got to go. My friends was right about you. You got to go." Um. So like I said, but Dorothy, I do like Dorothy very much. I actually found that really funny. Because B. Arthur and Rue McCallaghan co-starred, sorry, in a show called Maud, which that's somewhere a lot of people would know B. Arthur from. A lot of people. So Dorothy and Stan did have some children. I'm not exactly sure how many. I want to say like two or two or three. I want to say like two or three. So, so like I said, Blanche owns the home. So there was one episode that they showed how all the girls came together, and it was so nice and fun. And Rose got the nicer bedroom, I guess. And yeah, they've been friends ever since then. They've been actually, so yeah, it's been a couple years now. They've been living together. Um, there's been some episodes where they almost stopped living together. I remember one is Blanche actually considered selling her home to a man that really wanted to buy it, but it fell through, and they really, considered it. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Um, so, Dorothy, like I said, Dorothy is a school teacher. So there's been a couple of episodes throughout the seasons where she mingles and talks to a lot of her students. I remember one episode, one was an immigrant and they were going to deport him. I can't think who the actor was, but he was in Saved by the Bell. If y'all know Saved by the Bell, you know who I'm talking about. So there's that. Uh, and I think what Dorothy brings to the table, not just her strong will, her overachievement, but the fact that she's been deemed not the image like Rose and Blanche. She stands off, she's tall, her body's been defined as not as the average of attractiveness, even during this time in 1980s. And but she's strong. She's strong. She has to be strong to get pregnant at a young age. I think, like I said, I think it's like 18, 19, get married, and she struggled with Stanley over those years. I'm talking about struggle where she had to work jobs, he would work jobs, but he would never really stick through it. There was always money problems, food problems, but she stuck with it. She knew what her decision was and she stuck with it. So I know it hurts her a lot, though she doesn't really show it as much because she is so strong that she's basically wasted a lot of her youth being with someone who the first real chance he got, he took it. But that's fine. I don't want to spoil the end. At the end, Homegirl gets married, and I'm so happy. And I was also very sad when that ended, but I was happy because, Dorothy got married and she got her happy ending in her second chance too. And I knew he was gonna treat her right when I saw it. I knew. I knew. Uh yep, and that's it. So we're going to actually move on next to Rose Nyland. So now we're going to be talking about the one and only Rose Nyland. See, Rose Nyland is played by Betty Wright, which is very popular, actually very popular. And it's just funny because Betty Wright's career has spanned a very, very long time. I mean, she only died, I think, a couple years ago. And I think then she was like 99. So she outlived all of them. She outlived all of the four. Out of the four of them, she outlived them. So let's move on. So Rose Nyland was, she's Norwegian American, I believe. Um, and she is from a very, very small place, very small town called St. Olaf in like Minnesota. She has so many siblings. I don't understand how she has so many siblings, but I guess if it's a small town, all you got to do is do what you got to do. Because I guess it's a small place in Minnesota, she kind of grew up around farm animals, working, tending to like the gardens and everything, and everyone kind of knew everyone in that town. So she was very, very, very close to everyone. And this Rose will have a story for almost everything. And because Sophia, Blanche, and Dorothy hated her St. Olaf stories because let's be honest, majority of the time the food sounded funny, the place sounded funny, everyone sounded like they were a little bit simple and naive, but their hearts were mostly in the right place. And there's always a Gunther or an Elga, an Olga, or someone in her stories. And though I'm not the biggest for the stories, the fact that she is so open to just share her life like that is it's really nice. She's different. She's Rose is definitely kind-hearted. She's naive. She's kind of simple. And one of the running jokes about her is that her hair is that which is actually a reality joke too because her hair. She's not a natural blonde, so they kind of poke that because Betty White is also not a natural blonde, though she kept her hair blonde for most of her career. I think she grew up as a brunette. I think she was like a brunette. Um, so they definitely get her on that. So like I said, Rose grew up in St. Olaf. She wasn't even, I think, allowed to date until she was in high school, like a senior or something like that. I think the one episode she had like 50 something boyfriends, and even Blanche was like, "What?" Because you know what, Blanche, if you got a boyfriend, majority of the time there's little dates, maybe a little kissing, and if you could go all the way. So even Blanche was like, she couldn't believe the fact Rose had that many boyfriends, and I think it was like less than a month, especially before her husband Charlie, who she was married to for a long time. So Blanche couldn't believe she had that many boyfriends and didn't do nothing with them. But of course, this is Blanche we're talking about. And Rose is so nice, not all the way nice, but she's nice. So she fell in love with her husband, Charlie. He was like a salesman, but he wasn't that good of a salesman. And eventually he did die because I think he died because he had a heart attack because him and Rose were making love. They were making love and he died. He had a heart attack. And because of that, she was kind of really, really afraid to be very intimate with another man. Um, and let's see, I'm trying to think what else about Rose. I remember she used to, I think during the first season or two, she was like a grief counselor at a center. And I think she used to be a waitress for a little bit. So they had, some money problems there, especially with her late husband. Um, I think she lost his pension because I think where he worked at one point went bankrupt. So there was that. What else? Of course, Rose is very loyal to Saint Olaf. Very loyal. She gonna be the ride or die to Saint Olaf to the very end. But now Rose, she that girl though. Don't get it twisted. She ain't. She is not afraid to get what she wants. There was one episode where Blanche made a mistake and gave Rose's favorite teddy bear to this little, I think like a little Girl Scout or sun. What was it? It wasn't a Girl Scout, but it was like a sunshine something, but like a Girl Scout. And that little girl was holding that teddy bear for ransom. She was like, "You gonna give me some money?" So Rose played off like, "Oh, sometimes you gotta move on and go on to the next direction of your life." But when that little girl didn't notice, Rose took that teddy bear. She pushed that little girl out the door, and she was like, I think the bear was named Ferdinand. She held on to Ferdinand. She was not gonna let that through, even for a child. Um, so Rose is she is like the very naive, tender person. And I know that sometimes when Blanche, Sophia, and Dorothy make fun of her, I know it kind of hits a little bit, but at the same time, sometimes I don't think it clicked. Like she's that naive that it don't click when they don't really want to listen to one of her stories. But she gonna tell a story whether they like it or not. I love the fact that Rose is still so bubbly. She always would want to try some of her St. Olaf Norwegian dishes, which is normally consist of stuff I can't even name. It's like Flugelwagen or the Flukelnoggenoggin and stuff like that. I don't even know what's in what in. I don't even know what I just said, but whatever's in it, she know how to cook it. A lot of fish and stuff of that nature. But yeah, so this Rose Nyland. So I wanted to highlight just some of the Golden Girls' famous quotes. These are just some that I like. I know everyone has their own preference, but these are kind of my favorites. So the first one is Blanche. She says, "I treat my body like a temple." And Sophia, with her quick wit, said, "Yes, open to everyone, day or night." Only Sophia would say that, and it just be that funny. Another one that I like is Rose asks, "Can I ask a dumb question?" And she, Dorothy was like, "Better than anyone I know." And when Blanche said, "What was your first impression of me?" Rose and her quick wit too. Rose can have a quick wit when she wants to, but she's still nice even when she shades someone. She said, "I thought you wore too much makeup and were a slut." I was wrong. You don't wear too much makeup. That comedy that the show has, and that they can jab at the best of everyone, and as soon as you think they're done, they're not. Give another few more minutes, they come in with another one, and then another one, and another one, and another one. I just these are some of my favorite quotes. Please put down in the comments some of your favorite quotes or some of your favorite scenes, which is what we're going to be talking about in the next part. Some episodes that I like. So these are some of the episodes that I personally like. Of course, there's others, but I just wanted to just shorten it to at least three. I have the one from season one, episode 17, Nice and Easy. This is the one I was talking about earlier, where Blanche finds it difficult that her niece is having a promiscuous nature. Then I have the one from season four, episode 15, Valentine's Day. This is when all of them remember a very terrible Valentine's Day experience. Then I have season seven, episode 8, The Monkey Show. So this is the one where Sophia predicts a hurricane in Miami, and then Blanche and Rose and Dorothy are participating in a telethon. And so, yeah. So these are just the episodes I like. If you have episodes that you like, you can just go ahead and put them in the comment section. And that is really it. So I want to thank everyone for watching my video. I am so happy to have been speaking with you guys about the Golden Girls. I highly recommend watching this show if you have never watched this show, or if you have not seen this show in a long time. Honey, go ahead, get your nice drink on, get you a bottle of rosé, get you some champagne, get you something to eat, whether it be a little fruit platter, little cracker platter. Um, go get go get you some Jamaican food if you have to, honey. Or go get, I don't know what they eat down in Miami, but since they're near water, go get you some fish. Get you a nice fish fry and go watch the Golden Girls and have a nice time. You are going to laugh. You are going to enjoy yourself every time you watch the Golden Girls. And you're probably going to learn something, especially this show since it's been ahead of its time, especially from 1985. If you want to watch this show, you can try Amazon Prime, I think Apple TV, Sling TV. You could probably purchase it through. You could probably purchase through YouTube, and if you definitely want to watch in a quick hurry, I know Hulu has it, which is where I normally watch the Golden Girls. So go give it a try. Once again, thank you so much for watching my video. Please like, share, and comment and let your friends know, honey. We are talking about movies and TV shows, and it is not going to stop here.